Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Wayward Lasses, All the Things podcast. I'm Brittany, joined by our mother, Amy.
I'll be normal today and say, hi, guys.
Hello. And my sister, Courtney.
Hello, sister.
Hello, sister. All right, guys. So today we are going to be talking about feeling overwhelmed, which I think the three of us are feeling, and probably a lot of you out there are feeling. But before we jump into today's episode, we've got some trivia, and I am the trivia person for today, and it is fill in the blank lyrics of 1980s songs.
80s?
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so loud.
Yes, 80s. So these are quick, so maybe I'll do them all. Okay, here we go. Call me on the blank. Call me anytime.
Call me on the blank. Call me
The phone.
on the blank. Yeah, it was phone.
Call me on the phone. Call me anytime. I don't know what that is.
Wait, call me.
That's it. That's the song. Call me. What'd you say?
On the line?
Yep, it is on the line. Very good. Number 2, and that was Call Me by Blondie. Yep. She's blank, and she knows just what it takes to make a pro blush.
Takes to make a pro blush. That's Kim Carnes.
It is.
She's got Betty Davis eyes.
That's the name of the song.
I know.
You got everything but the fill in the blank. She's blank, and she knows just what it takes to make a pro blush.
Oh my God. She's blank. She's...
The answer is, well, here's your options.
Okay.
Wondrous, precocious, or luscious.
She's precocious.
She is precocious.
Just what it takes to make a...
Very good. Very good.
Sorry, Corey.
Next one. I want to get physical. Let's get into physical. Let me hear your body.
Let me hear your body shout.
Physical. No. I don't know.
Let's get physical. Let me hear your body shout.
The word is talk.
Oh, talk.
Let
Why
me
doesn't
hear
your body shout?
talk.
Okay.
That was Physical by
Olivia Newton-John.
R.I.P. Every breath you take, every move you make, every blank you break, every step you take.
Every vow you break. No vow.
Every move you make, every vow, every... Say that again.
I know.
Every breath you take, every move you make, every blank you break, every step you take.
Every move you make, every... It's not vow you break?
No.
Every move you make and
every heart you break?
The correct word is bond.
Bond.
Bond
Every
you break.
That's right.
I know it when it's playing. Just
Okay, here we go. How can you just leave me standing, alone in a world so...
How can you just leave me standing in a world so...
Cold.
A little more?
Correct.
Cold.
Mom, you know who
What
it is?
that?
It's When the Doves Cry by Prince.
When doves
How
cry.
can you just leave me standing?
Alone in a world so cold.
Okay. Didn't sound like it.
This one I did not get.
Too demanding. Sorry.
I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty blank have got no rhythm.
Feet.
Never
Gonna dance. Guilty feet have got
Yes, it is feet. It is feet.
Oh.
It is feet. Yep.
I know that
All
song.
right, and then you don't know who that is, Mom? Anybody?
Say it again. Sing it.
I'm never gonna dance again.
Oh, George Michael.
Guilty feet got no rhythm. Was George Michael a part of Wham? Right.
Yes.
So technically, it's Wham.
That's Wham. Okay.
Wham, bam, bam,
Wham.
bam. All right. Last one. Here we go. If you see me walking by and the tears are in my eyes, look away, blank.
Baby, look away.
Very good. Who is it?
If you see me... it's not Chicago, is it?
It is.
It's Told you, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This
Say
is
it again.
Mom's jam.
This
is Mom's jam.
There was a couple more. All the kids in the blank say walk like an Egyptian.
All the kids in the hookah shop say.
The who shop?
The hookah.
The hookah shop?
All the kids in the market shop.
Marketplace.
Place. Way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh.
That's good. Good job, Mom. I think you won that. Actually, I'm pretty positive that you won that.
Pretty positive too.
No, Courtney had some.
Pretty
I had one.
Well,
You had Prince and you had Wham.
Wham.
All right, guys. So we are going to hop into today's episode, which is about feeling overwhelmed. I know that the three of us are feeling that right now, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur to feel overwhelmed. You can be literally anybody. But this topic was actually because Mom was feeling this way, and she really wanted to talk about it this week. So if you don't mind, Mom, I would like to start with kind of what was going on with your week, and how did you come up with this topic of this is what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I woke up one morning and this feeling of actually it started out with like a pressure. Maybe that's what you guys would call anxiety, right? But when I started to think about it more, I'm like, okay, I got to go to work. Can I call out today? Oh my God, yes. Now I have to reach out to other people in terms of, getting the business going. How do I get that going? I don't know anybody, right? And then the whole realtor thing. Am I doing the right thing? Am I touching that person? Meaning, am I reaching out at the right time? Is it too much? Did I ask enough? I just started feeling all these things, and I didn't want to move at that point because it seemed like so much. And like I said, I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced it. It was just like this weight on me, and I didn't know what to do. In terms of having these businesses that we're starting and trying to get going, I didn't even want to talk to you guys because it was like, you guys are doing these great posts. And unfortunately, what starts to happen when you, at least for me, when I start to feel overwhelmed, you start doing this whole negative talk, like, is it enough? And you start doing the comparison. So that's why I was like, I don't know if I even want to talk to you guys because am I doing enough for wayward? That's the other thing. There's wayward lasses as well. So we're spread out thin. And as I said, and I think it was the second episode, when I said what my goals are, I don't know if I'm spreading myself too thin, but this is what my goals are, or these are what my goals are. And maybe it's just the natural progression of things as you first start out. You start to feel overwhelmed because there's just so many things that you have to get going at the same time. And there's just only one of you. And boy, I could talk now for hours about, women and the expectations and what we put on ourselves. And we want to do it perfect. And we're expected to do it perfect. And if we can't do it all by ourselves, then there's something wrong with you. But interestingly, if you guys were to come to me or I were to come to you and you would say to me, hey, Mom, just why don't you ask Steve for help? Or why don't you just stop for a second? I would take that. But unfortunately, if you tried to give that advice to yourself, oh no, I can't do that. I can't ask my husband for help. I got to do it all. I got to clean the house. I got to take care of the kids. So that just all that day, when I woke up that morning, all of that just hit me and I didn't know what to do with it. Right. So that's why I had asked you guys, can we talk about feeling overwhelmed? Because sometimes, I feel lucky to have you guys. I can bounce things off of you, but sometimes we have listeners out there who don't have somebody to talk to. So what about you guys? Have you guys felt recently feeling overwhelmed or overloaded?
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to pretty much everything that you're saying. I have a lot on my plate as well. And I know that feeling of just, you have so much to do that you just don't want to do anything. I had that moment before. I was sitting on the couch and I was just going through the list of things I have to do in my head. And instead of getting up and doing it, I was like, I'm just going to watch TV because this is just, I need to just disconnect. Yeah. And I think, man, everything that you said, we could probably do, a 10 episode podcast series on it because there's just so it's so loaded. There's so much. But there's something that you said that stood out to me when you talked about the expectations that we put on ourselves. Because I think for me, I have the mindset, or I have the belief, the false belief sometimes, that things are expected of me. But then I realized no one's expecting these things of me. I'm expecting them of myself. We put a lot on ourselves. And partially it's because we're type A personalities, and we know the best way to get something done is to do it ourselves. But we're human, and we have boundaries, and we have limits, and that's okay. That doesn't make us weak. That doesn't make us inferior. David and I are actually doing this couples journal this year. I bought it. I think I got one for you, Brittany, too, for you and Alex. Some of the questions on there are kind of silly and goofy, but one of the questions the other night, Mom, they're like prompts, discussion prompts for you to do with your spouse. And there's one for every day of the year. And one of them was, is there something that I do that you feel, or something that you do that you feel I take for granted? So you're asking, your spouse is asking you. And he was like, no, I don't feel like you take me for granted at all. And I was like, is it my turn?
I got a list here.
Wow.
Go ahead. But what was funny is it opens that type of setting. I wasn't being, what's the word? Accusatory. Is that the correct word? I wasn't accusing. I was just having an open dialogue with him. And as he listened, he responded with, I didn't know any of this. Because I think a lot of times we expect our husbands to just know. You should just know. And he didn't. And that forum that I had in that moment to just share with him how I was feeling. And there was no emotion behind it, because a lot of the times I think when we complain to our husbands or whoever that we're overwhelmed, nobody's helping, we're in an emotional state. We're in a highly emotional state. And so there's no discussion happening. It's just, I'm frustrated. I need to vent. Everybody leave me alone. So this is the first time we've had a discussion like that where I was calm and I was able to think rationally, and we had a really great discussion about it. And there were so many things that I was telling him that he just didn't know. He didn't know I was feeling. He didn't realize had to get done, because I always did them and never gave him an opportunity to help. And therefore he didn't know that those things needed to be done. And yes, I know how we feel as women. Well, he should just know. But listen, this is your partner for life. This is someone that you've chosen to do life with. So do life with them. It doesn't make you weak to ask for help. So for me, I would say that first step of feeling overwhelmed would be to do a little self-analysis, a little self-evaluation, and kind of see what are the expectations that are real? What are the real actual things that I must get done? And what are the expectations that I'm putting on myself, right? So for example, an expectation that might be is I have to clean my house, right? But the expectation I'm putting on myself is there has to be no fingerprint on any wall, and there has to be no speck of dust anywhere. That's a little beyond,
extreme.
a little extreme. So I think that, I know I just went off on a tangent there, but that was the first thing that popped into my head was we put so many expectations on ourselves as women, because we can do a lot, and we multitask. That's the other thing. I'm multitasking. I have 50,000 things in my brain right now. But sometimes the men have it right in having a really linear approach. Let me get this done, and then I can deal with all of these other things. So those are the first thoughts that popped into my head. Either of you want to respond to that?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Huh? Just to quickly respond on the whole mind reader thing. It is something that females do. We do it to each other. We do it to males. They're not mind readers, and it's an expectation that you set that's not realistic. So it is incumbent upon you to actually make it known to your spouse, to your children, to your friends, because you hold on to a grudge or whatever it might be, and they had no idea you even felt that in the first place.
And if you are going, if you insist on having the attitude of, hey, no one else can do it better than me, or if I want it done, I just have to do it myself. If you're going to insist on having that attitude, then don't complain that no one helps you. Because if you're not willing to share the burden with others, then they're not going to be able to share the burden with you.
Sorry, Prit.
No, you're good. I definitely identify with everything that you guys are saying. Mom, when it comes to your just feeling of being feeling paralyzed because you're so overwhelmed. I definitely understand that. And then with you, Cord, sometimes I'm just like, I just want to veg and watch a TV show where I don't have to think. And then just a total sidebar on that. I've been watching Suits because like doesn't require any brain power. I am so annoyed with the show that I'm just like constantly yelling at the TV. I'm just like, why are you this way? This show is dumb. And I'm the kind of person where if I start something, I have to finish it. I'm in season 7. I have been disliking it since season 4, but I refuse to give up. So I'm almost done, but it's turning into a not just a veg thing anymore. So that was just a side note. But I get that. For me, I feel like ever since I left teaching, when I made the decision to leave teaching, I was like, okay, you are leaving everything that you've worked your adult life for. You need to be successful. So that very first year after I left teaching, I made this entire page of like, how can I possibly make money? And I started to do all these things. I've said it before, but I have like 3 online stores, a cleaning business, a full-time job as a recruiter. I'm now a skincare consultant. We have the podcast, and at some point it was running smoothly, but then I just became so overwhelmed that I kind of just dropped the ball on everything. So I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. For me, I think there is a couple of things. One is there's like that financial burden of since I decided to leave my career, if I'm not constantly always doing something to make sure that I'm making money because I left my career, I feel like I'm letting my family, like I'm letting myself, my husband, my family down, and I don't want to be a failure. So if I find myself just doing nothing, I'm like, okay, you have to do something because, so I feel that. And then what else did I want to talk about? What you guys said? Oh, when you're chatting with your husbands and making sure that you're being clear, it's definitely a good thing to do. And another side note, Courtney, I've tried to get Alex started on that, but he's just so silly that I can't get past any of those questions without. I think the first question was, what could I do to make you happy? He's like, you can make me a sandwich. I'm like, okay, this is going nowhere.
But I will say, not to cut you off, a lot of those questions, that's what they're for. They're just to kind of have that moment where you laugh, but they could lead to deeper conversations.
They could.
But anyway,
yeah. I definitely think, and I don't want to go on for too long because we can piggyback off of this, but having that strong support system where you can go talk to someone. Mom, I'm sorry that you felt that way, that you couldn't come talk to us. Let me just stop here because I'm going to keep talking. Let's just, if you want to hop in about anything that I said, because there are plenty of things that were said that I just want to talk about.
I know there's so many things. No,
nothing about what I said.
Oh, about what you said.
Yeah.
Let's see. You did say something, and I should have written it down because I have such a short.
Well, I'll say, Mom, I feel bad that you didn't want to come talk to us about it.
Yeah, I think what happens is the dynamic. Even though I am very close with you guys, it's almost as if, well, I shouldn't feel this way type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So you just want to work through it because maybe it's just a temporary thing that I'm going through. And I just, because everybody has those days where you just don't feel right. And then why burden you with that when I can get past it? I think the thing that if it happens to be a long-term thing and I can't get past it, then I certainly should come talk to you guys about what's going on. Mm-hmm. But if it's something that's temporary, then it should be something that I feel that I can work through. Then, why burden you guys with it?
Yeah, well, could we take that as a little segue? I mean, we could definitely backtrack and talk about more of the things that overwhelm us and the reasons why we're overwhelmed. But you just said you wanted to work through it. So, in what ways were you able to work through that specific day where you were feeling that?
It's so funny. So where each of us are doing our own little posts, right? The age difference, right? And I had the conversation with Courtney about, I feel challenged because like you are 20 years out from, being out of college or whatever, or high school, and you still keep in touch with your friends. Whereas me, I'm like 30 years or 40, whatever it might be. And I don't have those bonds anymore. Okay, I have Facebook relationships, with people that I've gone to high school with and grade school with, but not people that I necessarily keep in contact with. You guys are my sphere, right here. So looking at the post and I'm like, why can't I post something like that? Yeah, the whole comparison thing. And it's like, well, that's so silly. Just do what you can, So I think what happens is, at least for me, what happened is I was able to say, well, that's just a silly thing, right? But there has to be some little truth to it for me to have thought about that in the first place. So Brittany we had our trivia night last night. She's like, well, did you invite anybody? I'm like, yeah, I invited a whole bunch of people, but 0 showed. And I'm like, how about any sales? Did you any sales? 0 sales. And I knew this going in, that this would happen. But what's different is that I was able to not let that bog me down. Yeah, you're overwhelmed because you're doing the comparison thing and you want to be better. But when you start out something new, it's like weightlifting. I heard this when I was listening to a motivational podcast. You start lifting weights. The very next day, you can't expect to lift or bench 300 pounds. You got to work up to that. You start a diet. You can't expect the very next week that you drop 20 pounds. It takes some work. And it's the same thing with this. You got to put the work in. You got to nourish it, right? In order for it to flourish. And that's what I was able to, when I worked through it. That's what I came up with.
Got ya. That's good.
I think what you're, oh, sorry, Court, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're on a roll. I saw it. You were there.
I was just taking notes. I think part of what's causing that, I also Googled it. Overwhelmingness is a word. So I think what's causing, yeah. I think what's causing that, and I think a lot of people can agree with this, especially with your situation that you just explained there, Mom, is imposter syndrome. I think a lot of us, when we try to start something new, one of the reasons why we start feeling overwhelmed is because we think to ourselves, should I even be doing this? Like you said, am I too old to be doing this? Or do I not have enough information to do it? Which brings us back to last week's episode of step out of your comfort zone and it'll be okay. Just like you were saying with weightlifting and doing a diet, it's never going to be perfect the first time. You're going to have to practice. You're going to fail. You're going to hear no way more times than you're going to hear yes. But through that, you're going to be able to build more confidence, build the connections, and do the correct things that you need to do to be successful. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I felt too when I first started this. Now that I am, reaching out and trying to make more meaningful relationships and cultivating past relationships, I do see that I have a bigger bubble. But as making new friendships is a little bit harder for me. And we had a trivia thing down here in Greenville, and Alexa was like, well, did you invite anybody? I was like, I have no friends down here. Nobody came. Nobody came for me because I had nobody to invite. So I definitely understand that. I think it's a big feeling of imposter syndrome. And I think one way to work through that, especially if any of our listeners kind of relate to what my mom was just talking about, is just to take the time and to be forgiving with yourself and know that this is a process. It's going to be a process. It's step by step. You will fail, but you also will succeed.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to add in there, this isn't necessarily about being overwhelmed, but think about how you guys interact with social media. How many times does someone send you something or a text message and you look at it quick, but you're in the middle of something and then you go about your business and you forget? So my mentor reminded me of this. She was like, we're sitting here and we sent that invitation or we sent that email and we're thinking about it. Like, I sent them that email. They didn't respond. Did they respond? No, they didn't respond. Oh man, they didn't respond yet. On their end, their perspective is probably, oh, Courtney sent me an email. I'll get back to it. And then they never thought about it again. So I'm sitting here thinking they're rejecting me. They don't want to support me. They're not interested. And meanwhile, they just forgot. So sometimes there's also have that grace for yourself, have that grace for others. But we always are so quick to go to the negative. Oh, I'm trying so hard. I'm not getting anything out of it. Nobody's supporting me, whatever. And meanwhile, it's just simple human error. They just forgot. And we think, oh, I don't want to bug them, but you're probably not bugging them. You're more than likely just reminding them. So anyway, I just had that thought while you were talking about that.
Yep. No, that reminds me, I do this all the time. If I see something I like on my phone, I'll screenshot. I'm like, I'll go back and look at it.
Yeah. Never. I have so many things saved to my collections. I don't even like food recipes. Oh, we're going to do that at Christmas. We're going to make this drink at Christmas. Yeah. I don't think I ever looked back at it to see during the holidays. So you
I love that.
went through this and you worked through it by just kind of identifying what was causing it and just saying that's silly. This is not a reason to be overwhelmed. So it was kind of like your own self-regulation at that point. It helped
Yes.
you
And then
overcome
there's I did that, but then there was, like I said, there's a component, there had to be a component that was true in order for that to even surface, right? So Brittany had talked about financial pressures, being overwhelmed. So I am the breadwinner in the house, right? So the one thing that I am trying to do is get these businesses off the ground because I don't want to friggin' work anymore. Now, granted, I think when you have your own business, you probably work harder than you do when you are working, when you have a W-2 job, right? Because it is up to you to market. It is up to you to get those get in touch with those contacts and nourish those relationships and then make things happen. You have to make sure everything's there. And oh, by the way, when you don't have a W-2 job anymore, you're going to have to find insurance, and that's expensive. So the overwhelming feeling of how do I get to that point where these things can be up and running that I can leave my W-2 job. So it was like, I'm at point A and I need to get to point Z. And it's like, oh my God, am I ever going to get there? So that was another thing that was contributing that morning of I don't want to go to work and what's happening. And, how do I compete with what's going on out there? And am I doing the right thing? And I don't know anybody to be able to make a contact with. And when I did, nobody answered it. It was just like, and so I was able to work through it. But like I said, there's still a component there that is true that I need to work through. And the only way to do it is to continue to push through. Because I'm only at point A. I haven't made it to point B yet.
Yeah. I think all three of us are guilty of this, but we always do too much. And then we find ourselves in this like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be a failure. But the three of us are just like, we refuse to accept defeat and we refuse to be labeled as a failure. I think that is is it the crux? Am I quoting Harry Potter? Or is the crux a thing, or is just that a Harry Potter
You're
thing?
thinking of a Horcrux.
I know what a Horcrux is, but a crux is, okay.
Yes, a crux is a thing. Yes.
Yes, there we go. That's my Horcrux.
How about the root? Crux
No, I think that's what we do is like we see opportunity, at least for the three of us, like, okay, I can do this. I see how it aligns with my beliefs. I see how I can be successful. I see how, X, Y, and Z, all of these things, I'm going to do it. And then we do that for like 12 more other things. And then we're just like, oh my God, like, what do I do now? So something that, I don't know, I think it depends on your personality, but something that I do is I love making lists and I love crossing things off. And I will do something just so I could put it on the list and cross it off. It just brings me so much joy to do that. I don't know why. But I got these. It was like what, 99 cents. I'll put the day and then I'll just, what?
I'm just laughing because at work today, I had a task pop up that wasn't on my list because it was a random task, and I completed it, and I put it on my list. I crossed it off after I did it.
Yeah.
I already completed it. I was done. I just was like, I'm adding this on there because I did this today, and then I crossed it off.
Yes. Sorry. I don't know why it gives me such a sense of like fulfillment. So yeah, I think this would be good for you too, Court. And I don't know, for who of our listeners out there, this would be beneficial for, but I also have color-coded ones as well. So for my daily things, I'll put like, make your bed, daily routine, and I'll list all the things that I have to do. And then I have different colors as well. So what I'm going to start doing is for each of my side hustles and businesses that I have, they're going to have a color. I'm just going to list out all the things that I need to do. And then as I get them done, I can cross those off. But at least like for my daily ones, I have these white ones. And I don't know. It just helps me to be able to list the things out that I need to do and cross them off. And I don't know, it's nice.
Pull them out of your brain.
After you do that, do you really feel accomplished?
Oh my gosh, yes. I do it every day.
Yeah, okay.
So what I'll do is whatever I don't complete on that list for the day, I will transfer it to the card for the next day, and then I rip that sucker up and I throw it away. So even if I didn't finish everything, that card is technically done. And then I'll notice that sometimes, like 3 or 4 days in a row, something keeps going over to the next card. So now I'm like, wait a second, like this is annoying. So either I put that sucker on the top of the list and I complete it that next day, or then I realize this is too big of a task for me just to have one line and cross it off. Like this clearly has separate smaller steps that I could write out and cross those off and eventually get to that bigger task. So it kind of helps me kind of prioritize what I'm doing and then break things down into smaller steps if I need to, because I think we also do that a lot. Like, for example, I used to put clean house as a task. Are you joking? No. So that let me just take 7 hours out of my day. Are you joking? Why would I list that? That's a silly thing to put. So now I'll do like dust, right? Or I'll do clean, my office, or I'll do sweep the floor. So I used to put clean house, and that was one of the things that kept just going on to the next card.
That makes sense.
I broke it down, and now I'm able to get those things done and incrementally clean one thing in my house every day throughout the week, and my house is clean.
This is something we've talked about on the podcast since I think day one, was breaking down your goals into bite-sized, manageable goals. Don't say, you know what, my goal is to lose 50 pounds, because you're going to get discouraged when you don't see that scale go down. Instead, you're going to lose 2 pounds, and then you're going to lose 2 more, and then you're going to lose 5. You break it down into smaller, manageable goals. You have to be realistic with your expectations. So yeah, that goes right in hand with that.
I don't know why this is totally off topic, but break it down like a shotgun.
Get down. I had
you know what movie that's from?
No.
I have no idea.
Bad Boys.
Break it down like a shotgun?
I thought that's what he said. That. All right, continue. I'm going to Google it while we're... I swear he says that in Bad Boys.
1 or 2? Because
Who says it?
Probably 2.
Break it down like a shotgun.
Yeah, who says it?
Keep talking.
Hold, please, everybody. This is important information.
I'll hit pause. I'll hit pause. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever's listening, I could not find the quote. I swear it's in Bad Boys, but I'm going to find it later.
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
No, so what I was going to say is I did something today with my team. Our leader led us in this little activity that I would encourage you guys to do at home. She had us write out 7 whys, and we talked about finding your why. So she first said, why are you doing what you're doing? So when you're feeling overwhelmed, why are you doing it? Why are you getting up and going to work? You don't want to go to work. It's overwhelming you. Well, why are you going to work? And then when you write that reason down, so I can make money. Okay, why is that important? Why do you need to make money? You write down that reason so that I could support my family. Okay, why is that important? And you go down the list 7 times. And when you get to the bottom, it's always something like, I love my family. I love my husband, or I want to have time with my family, or I want to have health, or I want to have this. So it's a good way to almost, I don't know the word I'm looking for. The word is not decompress, but I feel like
deconstruct.
Deconstruct. Yeah, that's a good one. Deconstruct that feeling of overwhelmingness. Yes, it's a word. Okay.
But you know what? It's interesting that you say that, though, because when you get to that 7th level, though, I think that would make me feel even more like overwhelmed.
It's a reminder.
It's that much more pressure.
It's not about the pressure. Right? I think it's about more being reminded of your why. Right. So why am I even doing this small business? What is the point? What is the point of doing Rodan Field? What is the point of selling skincare? What is it's too much. There's so much going on. Why am I doing this? So I'm doing it because I want an extra income. Okay. Why do you want extra income? Well, because I want to be able to take the financial burden off my husband. Well, why? Why do you need to take the financial burden off your husband? Well, because I love him, and because he's really stressed at work, and I want to have more financial freedom. I want him to feel a little more free. Well, why? Why does that matter to you? And you keep going down, and it helps you, I guess, like you said, deconstruct, I think is a good word, that overwhelming feeling. Now, maybe it doesn't necessarily make that overwhelming feeling go away in that moment, but it helps adjust your perspective to not all the things you're feeling. Because don't forget, feeling emotions are super important, but they're not the problem. They are an indicator of something going on beneath the surface. And that is what we have to identify. What is causing this? And finding your why is a good way, not necessarily to find what's causing the overwhelming feeling, but to change your perspective to help you readjust and make sure I'm not worried about, the skincare business right now. What's important to me is my marriage and having financial freedom so I can enjoy my life with my husband. That is what is important to me. I'm going to go text my husband and tell him I love him and give him a hug and a kiss, and then I'm going to restart. So
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we forget our why a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's also important, not only just to deconstruct it, but just to remember why am I in this? Why did I start? And I think that's something that we did before we came back for this season, because towards the end of it, it was kind of just like, you were like, Courtney, you were like, I have too many things to do. And then it was this and it was that. And so we had to, I don't know, we didn't ask those questions, but we had to redefine our why. Why did we start this? Yeah. Why are we doing it? Why should we continue to do it? And, we figured out that why. We want to be able to share with you the realness and the trueness of going through not just being female entrepreneurs, but being women in their 30s and 40s and 50s and going through, the things that we're going through in our experiences. Not everybody has somebody to listen to them or to get advice from. And not that we're like, savants and have all of the best advice in the world, but it'd be nice just to listen in and be like, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And when we figured that out, that really changed our perspective for the podcast this season and really just helped us be a little bit more authentic and get back to the whole reason of why we started it,
Yeah. Agreed.
And I wanted to backtrack a little bit because you said something that I think is a missing component. So, Courtney, you have a group of women that you meet with physically, yes?
Zoom, but yeah.
And Brittany, you do as well. Like they're local too, that if you needed to meet up, you can.
Yes.
And Brittany, you have that as well. And I think this is what we talked about in our last episode about building a supportive network, how important that is. And I think it just like dawned on me like that while I have you guys, right? I don't have that here per se, as far as my peers, tribe,
your own peer group.
Yeah. To go to be able to bounce things off or, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now. And like I said, I can go to you guys, but I think there's something to be said about having your own network of women that you can go and talk to and network with. And I'm not just talking about, I've been to networking events where you go into an empty room and it's so uncomfortable and I'm going to talk to 3 people and hopefully, I'll find somebody who I have something in common with, where it's stressful to do it. No, I'm talking about actually being able to like sit down, grab a cup of coffee with somebody or with a group of women and have a frank conversation about things that you're experiencing and, have them throw ideas out or solutions that I can use to apply to my situation, or what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And I think I'm missing that component.
Yeah. I think, and we can talk about this later, Mom, I think you should really, I know that you have plans to go to networking events, but I think something that you can do super easy. I'm in a bunch of groups on Facebook for Greenville, but somehow this whole friendship application started in Greenville. And it was just like, hey, I'm Brittany, I'm 32. This is what I do. This is my job. This is what I love. And I'm looking for just some friends to hang out with. And all of a sudden, a ton of girls in this area started posting information about themselves. And then people were responding like, oh my gosh, I love going to the gym too. We should hang out sometime. So someone posted something.
Say something though, Brittany.
That sounds like a weird Tinder app.
It's easy for you guys to do it in your age group, but you have to think
No,
about
there's women your age doing it too.
I can't just like, hey, I'm Amy, and you
can. Like, I think that's you getting out of your comfort zone. But there was definitely women in their 50s doing it as well. But basically, I'm meeting somebody tomorrow for coffee because they had posted something, and I was like, hey, I think like I could provide some information on that. Would you like to meet up sometime? I've never met this woman before. We're gonna meet and get coffee or lunch or whatever we want to do tomorrow. But it's that.
Place.
Huh?
Safety first. Safety first, she said.
Yes, it is a public place. Yes, I'm not going to go get coffee, like in an alleyway, right? But it's weird because it's going back to last week's episode of you have to get out of your comfort zone. But 2, that's the society we live in now. of putting yourself out there on social media and trying to make those types of connections. Whereas before, we didn't really do that. You know, we met people because of the functions of the things that we're going to. But I promise you, Mom, if you put something on one of the groups that you're in, just be like, hey, my name is Amy. You know, I'm this. I work from home, and I'm realizing that I have no friends. Would anybody want to like get coffee sometime? And I promise you, people are going to message, people are going to respond, and it's going to be uncomfortable. But I think you should try that.
Okay.
We're all going to have action steps
I'm
this
like,
week.
yes. Yeah.
Also, I found it, the quote.
You're
it's
a
actually from
multitasker.
SWAT. It's from SWAT.
Okay, the SWAT movie with Jeremy Renner and
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched that movie in like easy 15 years.
This is an incredible movie, and when I originally watched it, I was like, I'm going to be a SWAT member when I get older. But it is from that, and I'll play it for you guys later.
I want to watch that movie. Okay. So I want to bring up one other thing that we haven't talked about yet. Sometimes I have found that this overwhelming feeling that comes upon me is external in that, well, actually kind of internal, I guess, both, in that I'm hungry. I didn't have anything nutritious to eat, and my body is missing the B12 and folates that it needs to keep my mood up. You know that if you don't eat enough rich green food and nuts and all that, enough folates, you are prone to depression.
Yeah.
If you don't get a good night's sleep and you had a kink in your neck, it will affect your mood. If you are dehydrated and you didn't drink enough water, you might wake up feeling depressed. So sometimes the sun is not shining and it's a little gray, dreary day, and the sunshine also has an effect on your mood. So I think that's some things that are overlooked too is, you know, I'm not saying that this is what happened to you the other day, but think to yourself, what did you eat the day before? Did you drink enough water? Did you really get a good night's sleep? Could hormones have been affecting how you were feeling? Not saying that hormones is the reason why you were feeling. I think that your feelings are valid.
Right. There's many things that could have been
factors that can enhance certain things. Like I always know when I'm getting close to that time of the month because the words come out of my mouth. I'm so tired of this house every month. And I'm so aware of it now that as soon as I hear myself say it, I check I have my little calendar on my watch to see my cycle calendar. And I'm like, oh, yep, that's about time.
There it is.
It's like clockwork. It's just something in me gets so overwhelmed before that time of the month. And I'm like, oh, I'm just so tired of this house. And then I'm like, nope, yep, that's about right. So things to think about when you're feeling those feelings.
Yeah, I mean, lack of sun. I do enjoy rainy days, but sometimes when it's just consistently raining or it's cold, you're stuck inside. You know, that can just make you feel like you can't get things done. Vitamin D, yeah. I mean, I see all the time, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed and you can't stay focused. Just to, like, get outside. Yeah, take a break. Because I find myself. I know we've talked about this before, but when I need a break from my brain, I will go watch something or I'll just doom scroll. And it's just like the worst because I end up just doing it forever. And then I find myself at night before I go to bed, when I'm supposed to be going to sleep, my brain is running 1,000,000 miles per hour and I cannot sleep at night because I have like all of these ideas of, oh my gosh, I should do this. But one of the things I keep seeing over and over again is to unplug and get out in nature or do something to just break the system of what it is that you're doing so you can kind of reevaluate, take a step back and reprioritize kind of what's going on. I think we get stuck in that, you know, you wake up, go to work, do this, do that, and it becomes such a routine that we forget to think for ourselves and see, okay, I actually didn't get a good night's sleep last night. This is probably almost definitely what's causing me to feel like I'm falling behind and feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly. So we're kind of talking about now the ways that we're dealing with the overwhelming feeling. So let's elaborate on that so we can give our listeners some tools in their tool belt to use when they're feeling super overwhelmed. So Brittany, you just said go outside for a walk, connect with nature, take a deep breath of fresh air, open a window. Sometimes Davi does that. Sometimes he'll walk in, he'll say, this room, we need to open some windows. Because it just feels like, not even that, like,
especially when you work from home.
Yes.
Because all three of us work from home. Sometimes I just won't leave the house.
Yeah.
I haven't left the house since Monday. There's no reason for me to. Like, I don't really need to leave the house. And it's been cold and rainy, so I haven't been walking Sky. But sometimes I won't leave the house, like, for a week, depending on what it is that I'm doing, or several days at a time. So if you're working from home, get up, get out. That's my action step.
Set an alarm on your watch or something.
Set an alarm.
The house.
Yeah.
Go for a walk.
Or even to just step away from your desk.
Yeah. I do
your
that.
Watch does it, right?
My watch does it. My watch has a time to stand. Yeah, very good. I'm like, okay, I'll just go walk around real quick and go do something. I would say also, so to add to that, get out in nature.
What'd she say?
Okay.
She told you to go work out?
Your workout.
Who said that?
That wasn't me.
That was you.
That wasn't me.
That was you. Oh, it was me. Stop that.
What'd she say?
Cancel. She said starting your workout.
Oh.
Because I said go outside for a walk or something.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay. I would say, so yeah, getting outside, unplugging from social media and your devices. This is from earlier. Reach out when you're feeling overwhelmed. Reach out to somebody, whether it's your partner or a family member or a friend or whatever. Reach out even if you're afraid to, because you might overthink it in your head about reaching out, but sometimes you really just need to hear from somebody else's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
One other thing that I have for families out there is I'm a big believer in family meetings. It sounds corny, I know. We are not the what were they called? Oh my gosh, the Brady Bunch. We're not the Brady Bunch. But family meetings are everything. So we don't always do them perfectly because my kids are always all over the place. But we try to do like a little quick family game night, or when we sit at the table, I will read like those little stories to them or something, just to kind of get us together and start talking about our day. And then I go through the week. I say, okay, guys, I take out my calendar and I'm like, what do we have going on this week? And me and my 3 children and my husband will sit and we'll talk about what's going on in school, what's going on at work for everybody. And now everybody in the family is on the same page as to what everyone has going, who has appointments, who's got meetings. Is everyone expected to remember everything? No, it's more along the lines of getting the family on the same page. We are a unit. We are together. We are not against each other. We need each other to be able to get through life sometimes. And then what I do is, okay, this is what I need help with this week. And for my boys, because they have the memory of a goldfish. Sorry, side note, Brandy, if you're listening, you'll get that. But they have a memory of a goldfish. So I write things down. So if I know that this week is the week that we have to like scrub all the what do you call it, bathtubs, I get out my huge piece of paper. I leave it on my countertop all week long. And I write out a list of every single thing that needs to get done for the week. It's not my list for me. It is the family household list. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows that it's there, and everyone contributes in a place where people won't forget. What that does is, number one, as a family that's busy, that never disconnects, that's always running around, it forces you to come together and connect with each other to make sure that family unit is strong. 2, it enhances communication. Maybe there's something going on in your husband's job or in your kid's school that you had no idea about. This gives you a chance to talk it through, to offer some helpful suggestions or solutions or anything. And 3, it takes some of the burden off of you. It might help navigate some of those overwhelming feelings because now everyone knows, wow, this is all the stuff that has to get done in the house. Okay, we'll help. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have your first family meeting and all of your family issues are going to be solved, but I would highly recommend anybody listening and you find yourself in that overwhelming, my family doesn't do anything, everything is all on me, we don't talk, everyone's always on their cell phone. I have a no cell phone at the table policy, and we stick to it.
Us too.
So we're the furthest thing from the perfect family. We don't always do these family meetings perfectly, but I do it every week. So good tip. Definitely try it.
I think one tip that I can offer is set boundaries. I don't know about you ladies, but I'm always saying yes to doing everything, whether it be work, whether it be an activity, somebody, oh, let's do it. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I'll be there for you for that. So more often than not, some of the overwhelming feelings that we have could be self-induced because we don't draw those boundaries. So think about setting boundaries. Don't put these excessive demands on yourself. Do a little self-care. Practice some self-care, right? And you'll find that what'll happen is that burden will be lifted, or that feeling of overwhelmingness will dissipate or be alleviated because of the fact that you don't have as much on your plate, because you have the right mind to say, no, I can't do that. And it's not, that you're being mean or, you don't want to help out. It's really for your own sanity that you do something like that, because you can only spread yourself so far. So
Yeah.
much.
Thin. Yeah,
Thin?
I had
So
that.
thin?
I had that happen to me at work today, where I had a lot coming in, and the old me was, I have to get this done. I have to get this done now. I can't leave anything for tomorrow. But a simple email to a client saying, "No problem. I'm going to look into this. I will get back to you tomorrow." It was like very liberating. I felt funny doing it, but now that I'm used to doing it, it frees me, because I can't do it today. I could, but I'm going to work an extra 3 hours to get it done for you. And nobody's paying me for that. Or I could just tell you, realistically, I can't get it done for you today. It has to be done tomorrow. So I know that in some jobs, that's not always an option, but when it is, use that.
Use that. Yep.
Yep. And then don't forget to, if you're a list person, write it out. As those things keep going from one day to the next day, then you need to take that particular item and break that down into smaller items on your to-do list. And then also Courtney's 7 whys. Maybe you don't get to 7 whys, but just to ask yourself, okay, why am I doing this again? Because this is too much. Getting back down to your original why will also help. So we'll make sure to kind of summarize all that for you guys in our show notes. Anybody have anything else? Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much, as always, for joining us. It felt good to get this. I felt like I got a lot off my chest. I don't know how about you guys. Did you?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Yes. So it was good to get that out. Remember, we are always here for you. Make sure you follow us on all the things, social media. We are there. Tune in. And as always, I forgot it.
We are the Wayward Lasses.
Reminding you to keep it real.
Keep it real, Brett. Keep it real.
Bye.
I forgot. Bye.
Yeah, you probably see the look of fear in my eyes.
I forgot what to say.
Thanks for stopping by.
Stay classy.
Stay classy.